Ohio gozaimasu. We're doing readings today. Not sure what it's gonna be. So let's just get started with that. I don't know how I feel about this one yet. Okay, so we have Five of Pentacles. And on the bottom of the deck, we have Knight of Wands. I just split the deck and I see the King of Wands. I'm kind of just trying to fill out the situation that's going on. Okay, so, okay, hold up. All right, okay, right now we have the High Priestess, the Hermit, Three of Swords in reverse, So, I wasn't gonna tell you what the next card was because at first it was a card that was upside down and wanted to stay upside down. And then it wanted me to read the energy of this situation rather than knowing what the card was because I didn't know what it was yet. I don't know how much you can see. I've done my best to make this a thing. But it's the Justice card in reverse. And then in this half of the deck, it's the Judgment card in reverse. I'm not going to show that because that's not what they want. And then the Four of Wands is on the other half of the deck, bottom. I'm like the type of reader that I wouldn't want to be like watching right now because I want to hear what's going on. I want to know what's going on, but I also know that I understand when things like this happen and I'm always with it. So it's a totally different feeling about how I'm going about the whole situation right now because I'm really just in it. Not much normal, like much different than what I would normally be. Oop, gomenasai. Not much different from how it would normally be, but it's just completely different right now. The feeling is completely different, and I don't know what's happening, but I do. So we're just gonna go with it. We have the Six of Cups in reverse. This is my unknown deck. It has a name, but the box got destroyed when I lived outside, when I've when I was outside. So I don't know what it's called anymore. And it's also has many different personality traits to it as well. So I've explained this in my other videos, but yeah, that is my unknown deck, but it is not unknown. And if somebody knows the name, please do share, because I don't know the name anymore. And then we have the devil. And on the back of that is the Four of Wands, no, the Four of Swords in reverse, which actually, this has a lot to do with the whole thing. The fact that I messed up and said wands instead, and that is on the table. But the swords themselves, hold on, it's cold. Also, Five of Pentacles that I pulled up in the beginning, left out in the cold. Give me a second, let me turn this on. I could have did it from the other side, but I don't know. I was freezing. I didn't know how to think straight, apparently. Give me a second. I have to figure out what temperature I want, because sometimes it's just a little too warm in here. But that's not a bad thing, especially because I did just mention that I've been living outside. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. So it's a blessing to have heat. You don't know how much you miss heat until you're in the bathroom in the women's restroom and drying your clothes because it rained with the heater, with the dryer heater. You know what? I might just turn it off because I'm legit freezing. If you want, you can fast forward the video. It's not that deep. I wouldn't have been cold earlier if I hadn't have been trying to figure out what this was gonna look like. It's funny how that went for a good hour and I still don't know how this is gonna end up. But I do know that you can see me, you can hear me, you can hear that, but you can't hear all of it, but you can hear enough. And that's because it's a part of the message. I hate being politically correct just because someone else says I should be. So, getting back to the reading. So, we got a lot of out in the cold type feeling. That was really my whole feeling when I was shuffling. However, it turned into don't pull that card out. That's not what we're going to look at right now. And I don't post a lot of videos of me reading cards. I also haven't been reading cards as much since I've been out on the streets, technically speaking, because it takes a lot of energy to be one with your cards. So I had to hold my energy within myself. Excuse me. That being said, every time that I would shuffle the cards, a lot of Five of Pentacles would come out. And when explaining to other people anything about their energy, when I would read my cards, because I haven't not read cards without anyway, but you get the point. When I did end up reading cards, it would just constantly be coming out. So it was like this time, they didn't want me to put that card on the table. So this is not the main focus about being out in the cold, but it is an atmosphere of understanding that I am out in the cold. Not me, but we'll say the viewer or somebody, someone is understanding that feeling of not knowing where this is gonna go, what's going on, what's happening. This is the next card that wanted to be pulled up, is the Devil and the Four of Swords, and I was gonna say the Four of Wands. Now, that being said, these cards did come out together. Four of Swords is about meditation. Now, the Hermit card is also here. Okay, I'm gonna explain why these are being held up like this, because I feel like that's a big deal. It really is. I turned my phone around so I can't see what you can see, so I really hope this is going well right now. So let's start over. So, being left out in the cold. This whole spread in front of me is telling me a whole story. You may have already picked it up if you're already reading tarot. And like I said, these being held like this is significant in general, and I definitely understand why. So if that is understood by someone else, and I know these are kind of difficult to see because they're holographic. So the Four of Swords is a card of rest, meditation, calm down, understand who you are, going inside, understanding what you may or may not have done wrong, what you could have done better. The Justice card being in reverse underneath the Hermit card is like someone has went in and understood that this is what the energy means to them. Something that wasn't completed because they didn't understand their... I don't always just like using the word codependent when I look at the Devil card. It's just that's a really big thing in general when this card comes out. So the Devil card, I want to know what this card is. Hold on. You said you wanted to come out. Oh, it's the Judgment card in the other deck. Hold on. That one didn't make it on the table, but this one that's so funny. All right, well, Judgment card in the Unknown deck, and so that's the second time that this card has came out. Also, it wants to be sideways, so it shall be sideways. Now, this whole story has already come together, so if you've gotten your message, that's wonderful. That's exactly what this is. These readings are not like everyone else, and I also know that it really is different from what I would normally watch as well. But it's needed, especially for people that do read tarot. And for people that don't know anything about tarot, there's a lot more that goes into explaining it. So I don't know who's going to end up watching these, but God does. So we'll go from there. So coming back to the Hermit card first, someone has went in and understood the unfairness that has been given to them, and that has also been their way of putting it back into the universe. And in that, their judgment has become sideways, not simply good or bad karma. This is not the type of person that would be a narcissistic person because they want to be. Some people would disagree about that whole sentence, but there's more that goes into it. I've also made a couple of videos about this topic, so if you're interested in knowing about that, please look them up. Do I know what they're titled? No. But they're on there, and they were from a couple months ago. So if you're interested in understanding the difference between wanting to be a narcissist and not wanting to be a narcissist, but being that way because that's how it's handled, that is something that is a big deal in the situation. Let me see what I'm holding in my hands. Yeah. So that rest and rejuvenation in the Four of Swords, necessary, because the Judgment card being in a sideways form, that's like stagnancy. That's like giving a bit of something and then coming back and taking something from someone else because that's not what you knew. You didn't know how to be better. So you didn't receive better, but you also didn't put out better. And then you receive both sides of the coin. It really is it's like planting a seed and doing all the right things and all of the wrong things, and so it just stays in the ground. It may bud it a little bit because you did maybe water it enough and it's got the sun, it's in some good soil and stuff, but you probably put too much pesticide. Or wow, I don't even know too much even about gardening yet, but that came to me very correctly. You put a little bit too much pesticide. That's like putting walls up so that you're healing yourself. Well, I wouldn't say healing yourself, but also keeping yourself safe, keeping your heart safe, but keeping it too safe. It's in a box now. No one can get to that. And so that was a big part of what's been going on in the beginning. And so that's a lot of judgment going sideways because there's nowhere to put that. There's nowhere to take it. There's nothing there because that's pretty much the situation. And this person is lying in the ground. And it's almost like all of that mental energy really did hurt so much that you just buried yourself. There's even roses around it. And then there's a sword that's still keeping up defensiveness. And so this card right here brought up with this one, it's like both of these were codependent on each other, but there was no feeding, no understanding of interests in the situation, so nothing came from it. It's just gonna keep going back around to the Judgment card being sideways, nothing happening for you. The Wheel of Fortune is also here. I already said that, but I wanted to note that. Now, I'm going to bring up the Four of Wands that was at the bottom of, well, technically the top, but the bottom of the deck. Because we were talking about the Four of Swords. So the Four of Wands, this was basically bringing this whole situation together right here. Because it's like not opening yourself up to this because you're so used to understanding this. It's kind of a different perspective of the situation. So then when you actually take that time to go in and be the hermit, and I do mean go in and be the hermit, but I also mean like outside influences. I feel like that is really big in this situation. There are no pentacles on this table, but I am understanding that a lot. There's a lot of physical outside business that wasn't correct, and that caused a lot of death. Not too much rebirth, so much death. And then defensiveness, keeping happy family away. Even though that's not even what I'm looking at right now. Keeping happy family away. Pushing it away. Justice in reverse. We're going to use the word repenting for your sins. Repenting for things that you don't want to repeat. That's important. I don't really like using the word repenting for your sins type of thing because there's just too much of an explanation for that. And it is bigger of a story than that, but it really is about balancing things so that this Judgment card isn't sideways anymore. But going in and understanding what the situation was, brought a lot of that stagnant energy that you let in rain back down on you. But it was so that it could come back and be something better, so that it would be a brighter day. I really don't know if you can see this. By the way, it's the Wheel of Fortune if you couldn't see it. We have the High Priestess in reverse. She's pretty much on the table telling me that what I'm doing is meant. I have to make sure not to consciously alter the message, because I really do pay too much attention to everything that I am. I am a channel being, as really everyone is, but the more you follow your light, the more it makes more sense that you're a channel being, but it really is what it is. I'm not going to talk about that right now either, because I think I've made a video about that as well. We're covering the bases slowly but surely. But I do recognize when certain things are not as accurate as they could be, because I almost said something that I didn't want to say. Or the opposite way. They be really fresh in here, and I don't always want to say exactly what's happening, because it's not. If I get beat up for something silly, I'm very upset about that. So we have the Four of Pentacles showing itself. A lot of fours. We haven't seen, what is the last one? Four of Cups? Yeah, the Four of Cups. We do have the Page of Cups at the bottom of this deck, but I don't think that we have another Chariot, which I actually had that in my hand. Oh, I guess I didn't pull that out. The Chariot was at the bottom of this deck over there, but it's not out anymore. So and then the Temperance card comes out. So something is speeding up accurately and very quickly. We have the Seven of Cups, Chariot again. Right now I'm just reading the energy and the situation. We'll just see. A lot of pages are coming out right now. I feel like a lot of creative endeavors are being done right now. And step by step is the way to go. That also has to do with me as well. That's a big part of what's going on. The Magician is in here too. And then we have the Two of Cups, companionship, just in general. So we have the Five of Cups in reverse, and then the Five of Swords in reverse. The Hanged Man and the Judgment card again. It is not in reverse, but it wants to be held like this, so that is what it shall be. So here's the tea. So right now, someone is in a space where there has been a lot of karma, so much karma. I feel like there's been a karma coming left and right, up and down, and even though that seems like a normal sentence, a normal flow, a normal instance to some people it's not. To some people, their day by day is the same, and that is also the stagnant karma, which also really feeds into it. Okay. It does mostly feed into negative karma, because that being stagnant is not something that you should be a lot. You can be, and sometimes it's good, but it's as I'm looking at the Hanged Man and he's standing up. I never know if that card is upside down or not. He's also sideways as well. Stagnancy. That's the whole thing. I'm sorry that I look at you like that all the time. And the judgment card. Bro, there's just like so much happening on this table, and it's all very, very repetitive. And it's not repetitive in the way of like, this is what it is, and then I'm going to keep saying what it is. But it's just, this is what it is, and it's like multiplied. Like it's a big deal. That's exactly what's happening. It's something that used to be a bigger deal because there was a lot more pain. But now, many people, someone, is in the space where it's not as important as it used to be. Whatever's going to happen is going to be what it'll be. There is a sense of surrender here. So, yeah, the Three of Swords, I wanted to see which way it would, like, when I picked it up, like, what it would be. The Three of Swords in reverse. It's like giving your heart a new start, a new understanding of what it means to be happy and in love and interested in your own world and in the world of the people that you meet. That's something that's important. Let's see. Oh, this is what I mean by things being destroyed. This is a part of the box for the holographic ones. And these cards are meant because they've been through a lot. They have so much personality. Yeah, the Temperance card again. Let's find out what it is. Okay. Queen of Swords and Seven of Pentacles. This is our first real Pentacle card. So, in this card specifically, wow. Y'all out here doing something. Okay, hold on. So, in both of these cards, I was going to start with this one, but when I pointed, it was this one. But they're doing the same thing. So, first off, she's crying. Queen of Swords. I bit my tongue. That's exactly what it felt like. Wow. Something had to be done, had to be said, communicated, and it hurt. It hurt a lot. She's crying. There's also blood on her sword. She had to do it. It had to be done. There was no way it could not be not done. Because right here, we have this person that has been working so hard on something for so long, and the tree is bleeding. There's been so much blood, literal blood, sweat, and tears. It could be inside your body and going through that blood, sweat, and tear type of vibe, but it is really like blood, sweat, and tears being put into your situation, and it had to be done. It had to be done because your heart didn't want to be in pain. It's not fair. Equal give and take. Six of Cups is actually a card of reconciliation. Excuse me. Excuse me. But what came to mind was the Six of Pentacles, which is equal give and take that you were not given. Excuse me. We'll take these as confirmation burps. And in this Six of Cups, there is two characters at the top. We'll call them the angel and devil characters, but I'm not sure if this is actually an angel character. And it might just simply be speculation in judgment that this is the devil character next to him. However, he seems to be dressed the part. And he also has a two-face mask on, which a lot of these characters do in this deck, but that seems significant to me, especially at this point in time. And then we have all these people at the bottom, you know, enjoying the show, we'll say, but overall it really is like cheering them on and really looking at this situation. But overall, none of those people are putting that effort in to be on stage. None of those people are doing anything except looking. While these two people up here are, you know, I don't know what they're doing actually, because they're not actually interacting too much, but they're up there. It is a puppet show. I didn't want to say duke it out because we ain't got to fight. But I don't know if they know that. Because they really do look like they're cheering them on and being like, hey, beat his ass. That's really what it feels like. I feel like there's been a lot of unnecessary competition and people have been spurring it on, but they've had little to nothing to do with the whole situation as a whole because it had no effect on them. It had less effect on them than they believe it does. It's like living vicariously through someone. That's funny. You'll see a phone, but I think it's funny. Living vicariously through someone. Looking at their life and thinking that it would help you out. That's only true if you let it. 8 of Cups, walking away from that. I think what we're gonna do next, because I think that's the thing. It's always something. It's always like messages of the universe, and it just continues to go on, and it's always just like one really important message that had to be said. Someone is taking the path to their own personal happiness, where their heart does not feel like they're in pain all the time. And there have been other people ruining that reunion for them with themselves, and they've been letting it. And so now they're taking those steps to make sure that that is not the case anymore, because they want this 4 of Wands, happy life, happy family. And it's not that they're against wanting to be in the devil energy. They just recognize that they don't master it the same way anymore. It's not meant to be the forefront of the situation in that way. You'll hear a lot in the videos that I have put up that have made it. Duality, being both the light and the dark, and knowing what that means to you, knowing what that means to self, to everyone else as well. You learn how to read yourself. It's very easily. I'm sorry, my mic is pretty daggone good, so you might be able to hear someone using their shower. So taking that duality of self and being your own person, that's more important than letting someone else tell you who you are instead of knowing that that's what it is. Someone could tell me that I'm the best in the world and all of this stuff, but unless they mean it, they're just stroking my ego, and I feel and understand that. I'm also having deja vu right now, which is funny because I've not done a reading like this yet. Go minasai. The Hanged Man again. And the Ace of Swords. That's a confirmation for this reading. I was kind of doubting myself a little bit, more than I need to. I have a level of thinking that sometimes when I'm reading anything, because I know how gifted I am, and since it's so natural to me, I don't want to just assume that that's the message, that's what's happening, that's what's being said. So I'm always keeping a watchful eye on myself and in the situation. King of Pentacles and the Fool. But this is basically just Spirit telling me, like, this is going to be a journey that is actually going to continue. It's actually going to do what many of us have been working on for years now. Your energy could move faster depending on who you are and what your path is, but specifically your vibration and where you started and where you're going and all of this stuff. So it doesn't have to be 3 years, but it could be like 3 days, but it's felt like 3 years because of the challenges that you've had to face within those 3 years. 3 days, like I said. Those 3 years for me were like 85. It's been a lifetime. So it affects people differently throughout the energy and vibration of the situation. So that being said, everything that you've been working on in the past is going to actually come into fruition now. And a lot of these videos that I have been putting up as well, they've been up, but they have not been ready to be viewed. They're very different from how others would normally do readings. And I've tried even to see if we could be more structured in the way that we do the readings, but it just doesn't happen like that. There's not meaning in being someone else, even though I really enjoy what I watch on YouTube. I enjoy the readings I watch. So I would like it to be an easier viewing experience for those involved that find their way here. But I don't know what it is that you might need, because sometimes this is something that someone might need. And I'm the type of person that I would love for you to understand the whole situation, but if there's only a piece of it that you understand right now, that's perfectly fine. Make it work for you, please. Don't just take it and leave it. You can take it or leave it, but don't take it and leave it. There is a difference.